Welcome back, everyone, to the last semi-final series of OSL Season 3. It is Gospel versus KaitOkids. We just saw Zetsubo take the win over Resurrection, but who else will be joining Zetsubo in the grand final? We will have to wait and see. Now, once more, it is another best of 5. Our sets for tonight are set 1, the Ghoul on the Wretched Shop, which is a pick of Gospel. Set 2, which is the Doctor on the Wretched Shop, which is a pick of KaitOkids. Set 3, which is Spirit on the Suffocation Pit 1, which is a pick of Gospel. Set 4, which is a pick of the Dark Lord on the Wrecker's Yard, which is KaitOkids' pick. And then set 5, it is Pig on Midwich for the tiebreaker. Now, on the cast with me tonight is Sir Smonk of Edinburgh III. How out thou, Smonk, your Royal Highness?
You good sir Hunter. Today on the... I'm not going to do the voice. It's so stupid. I'm sorry. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to OSL. I'm keen for tonight's games, the semi-finals. This will decide who meets Zetsubo in the grand finals next weekend. We do have big new on the Ghoul. Ghoul's a little bit bugged, so I'm keen to see how he deals with it. Unfortunately, getting scammed out of a free tag there into a head-on and a firecracker. Am I watching a pub match? No, I'm not. But we do, at least at the very minimum, we get the Kagune mark onto Hanato here. So we're going to be able to catch up with 3 dashes. And we do get a nice little injury there now. There is a bug with Ghoul where if you hold S while mid-dash, it will sort of bug you in play. So hopefully we don't see any of that tonight. And looking at the items we do have, I can't quite tell what they are actually. I think that's the coffee and then maybe the umbrella. But with really nice tech there, we are a bit of a 4K Andy, unfortunately not able to stop that totem from popping there, but we do get a nice little cheeky tag onto Adam. I am curious to see if we maybe stick around for a slug, but no, we're going back to pick up Hanato here, who is under a pallet, so maybe we see Saga or Claudette nearby for a pallet save. We did see Saga earlier with the head on, but no one's here to help him, and looking at our pain roses, they aren't looking too bad actually, and we can actually see pain roses. Wow! Thank you, Behavior.
Yeah, big switch up. I actually didn't realize that, but yeah, very good to know where the pain reses are. It's a very quick down nonetheless, and we are a little bit of in the box seat on the side of Nu. I can't lie, a very good start. A tag at our disposal, someone on the hook as well. If we could just get maybe a quick flick around to what the survivors might be doing in a scenario like this, as we see nobody is around over at 5. Actually, we do see scratch marks, and we had managed to see the Claudette. Never mind, I am eating my own words. We're going to be taking the... Sorry, I forgot the mark. I'll just call it the mark because I actually don't know the prefix term to that, but we'll be taking the hit onto Quinn and just leaving that chase and opting to go for our tunnel out as soon as possible, as you do per Karnaki's set. Now, we do see our Adam, who is 2 teacher, just kind of doing a little bit of circles around the 8 tile after getting the unhook, and now we're going to opt to try and find Quinn once more. Nu is really hungry for that tunnel out. He does see the scratch marks going around main, so creating as much distance as possible, not playing any tiles, but we do manage to find Stay Now, so I think we've lost our tunnel out here. We're opting to go for a little bit more of a different chase and go for a little bit more of a different... Sorry? This is tunnel. This is tunnel. I'm smashed out of my mind. No way. Okay, sorry. For some reason, I thought it was someone else. We did manage to get the heal. My God. And now, yes, this is actually really bad for our survivors now. Coming to think of it, we're going to be playing this little shit filler around the outside of main and not actually getting, not being able to drop it. And we're going to go down. And Smonk, I just completely lost track of actually who was tunnel out just then.
All good. There's a lot of things going on at the same time in a Ghoul set, and we will notice we didn't use our painters initially on this hook. So as we get Olme Hanato here on the second stage, we do see him now there. We're going to be using our painters as well, which is fantastic to see. We still have Ruin Up. Undying is gone, however. Now, we know Claudette are lurking around each other, and it looks like the side of... KaitOkids here are very on top of their resets. We saw a really quick reset on Tornado after he was unhooked, and as well as Queen, a big reset in the background here. But we do get a Kagune mark tag onto Adam there, so we're going to be dropping him and leaving, maybe trying to do a little bit of a kidnap tag, as we're not going to be able to get the injury. We will be able to get M1 here. No, I'm eating my words. Queen is our sprint first player, but we should be able to get a little bit of a tag, but no, Queen with the crouch is going to deny any possible vaults from our power here, but with a couple of 2 dashes here, Nu should at least, at the very minimum, be able to get another tag, and with that tag, I wouldn't be surprised if he uses his remaining tokens to go back to hook here, as we're going to be coming back online very shortly. We see the unhook coming through. I don't think we're going to be seeing any FTPs. This is very lucky Saga here with the unhook. We don't see any resets happening in time. Unfortunately, no Will Makers coming through here. We're going to be committing to our chase onto Hanato, kicking just before we get any of our tokens back. That doesn't reset our power if it is already on cooldown. So now we're going to be coming into the chase. We do have Adam here for a potential hit take, but we're trying to get to the crane. Oh, a failed hit take from Adam! Hanato is down and out at 4 gens. Well, they might be getting greedy here, taking a tag onto Adam as well. They have 2 injuries on the board, Hanato and Deathhawk. Unless we see a miracle beamer save from Saga or someone else, I think KaitOkids is in a lot of trouble here.
Yeah, definitely. And just looking at this gameplay right now, it was mentioned earlier on in the week that Wretched Shop is just one of those maps where the tiles actually don't connect so well. So a very strong chase there from our Kaneki to be able to just maneuver around everything. And just the survivors don't really have much to play with, unfortunately, not being able to play around the pallets and whatnot now. Anyway, everything's so far spread rather, so now we're just going to opt to take chase all the way down to, or actually opt to look for a chase first up. And we did see the survivors all kind of sitting back and kind of gathering their thoughts. What is their next plan of action? We do see our injured Quinn here around this TNL over at the one side. Not much for him to work with. He is going to be trying to utilize his pallet, but not making it in time. There is a little bit of ping involved, but no, he wasn't even making that on normal ping, unfortunately. Now getting picked up, and we're going to be taking this pain res onto him as soon as possible. We are still at 3 gens remaining at the 3v1. This is absolutely dire for us survivors here. There's not really much you can do in this scenario. You got to kind of have to play for the best possible result, which in my eyes is a 4K1. I don't really see that. I don't think we're gonna be seeing outs in this at this point in time, but I could be wrong. You know, it's happened before where we've just had a complete 180 on the game. But if you take all things into account, Nu is in the box position at the moment. Now, he can protect this hook, or he could opt to go for a little bit of a chase. I think his idea here is just to scare the survivors off the gen while protecting the hook. That's probably his best bet right now. And only to assume that they'd be on the furthest gen, but no, we're just kind of stagnant at the moment. We are at a little bit of a stalemate, if you will, but I just think we're going to go back to the hook at some point. Oh no, we do see someone just crouching around that crane. There's no way. Smug, did you see that? Wait, Smug, did you see that survivor, or am I absolutely losing my mind?
No. You saw him, and I think Nu did too. I just don't think Nu gives a damn, but either he didn't see him somehow because it was kind of obvious he's just crouching along, or he wants to come back for his tunnel level. We see Queenie getting reset on the background there as unfortunately failing to get a proper grab down onto onto Saga here, but we're getting M1 through the pallets, a bit of ping working in Nu's favor here. Now, Ghoul, as you said, is a bit of a 4K Andy this season, as maybe a map switch next season. We'll never know, but Saga unlikely to make that pallet there. She does go down. This will be another pain res onto whatever gen may be highest progress, which is lucky Adam's gen that he's working into there in the background. It's looking bad for Card. I honestly, at this point, 4K2 is probably the result that I'm looking at. Even then, with the pain resistance on the board, and if Nu keeps playing at the pace he is now, he could get a 4K3. I would not be surprised if he does manage a 4K3 here. He seems to be convinced that there's someone nearby. Maybe Queen is stealthing nearby. Queen is stealthing, but I don't think he's that close. We see Adam nearby this crane gen here. Yeah, Queen is very far away from the hook here, just slowly sneaking up on Fixated Nu. A bit thrown off track there, but we're going to be rotating back over to the crane gen. Hopefully we do chase Adam this time. I don't know if he didn't see him there, but like, because I would have chased him if I saw him, but no. Adam's actually working a different gen completely, as he's going to be trying to play the track to the best of his ability, but Nu going back for a dry kick there, and then taking the chase with Adam. I'm not too sure if we've used our shack card or not yet. No, we haven't. We're going to be using this to get a tag after the vault here, maybe denying a little bit of live, as it's a pretty smart way to deny live if Adam is our live player, but we're going to be going for some crazy vaults here to try and mind game, and it does work a little bit on Adam there. I'm not quite sure if he makes window. He should just barely make window. He is not our live player. He's a smash and bounce player, but with a little bit of a vault there from Nu, he will be able to force the power down here, taking the break nice and early. Adam trying his best to check spot and just survive for as long as possible with this team. This is probably the strongest place on Records Yard. A lot of tiles here to work with, although this power just isn't it, as Adam does go down, and this will be the last pain res of the match, as we do see Saga working on a generator that's nearly at half progress, but KaitOkids need to be on the motors a lot more aggressively. Queena hasn't been on the grind. It's only been Saga or Adam, and at this pace, it's looking like a 4K3 hunter.
Yeah, definitely. And now with the last pain res of the trial gone, it's doable for them to pop another generator, but he's just going to opt to go all the way back down to the top side now, back to where the gens are being worked, or as he would assume. Now, a good thing to note that on the side of the survivors here is like, yes, that wasn't the furthest generator all the way over at mid 6. It was more towards the 6 corner, but to be caught out in the 6 corner is very dire. For Teacher to be working that mid-6 generator actually worked out a lot more in his favor, because he was able to utilize the shack effectively, and he wasn't able to be zoned the way that Nu would have rathered in that scenario. But nevertheless, Nu's still able to get that down and kind of just play accordingly around what he needs to. And now just going all the way down to 1, where we're going to be able to spot White, unfortunately, and he will be going down. No, I'm going to be eating my words. Never mind. I don't know what happened there. We did go for a little bit of a switch, but I did completely miss that. Now, we're still going to opt to go chase White now. He does have this rock filler to play with, and he's going to be doing a little bit of an animation tech, trying to fake the vault, not quite working out in his favor. Now going to be taking on the kick to this pallet. Is Nu going to be picking up and cooking White? I'm not too sure what the stages are looking like on the Survivor side of our Saga here, but I do say that is their second stage. Yes, it is. So we'll be seeing him rotate all the way down to the bottom side of where that unhooked happened. And with True Teacher not healed, you can only assume that he would be just trying to push the generators here, Smong.
Yeah, he is stealthing, it seems, though, and we see Queen slowly rotating up for the save there, but Adam has pre-stealthed away from his generator, just trying not to get found so he can work these safer gens near the shack, but with a little bit of a blood trail, Nu might be able to catch onto it, but no, he doesn't catch onto it. Instead, he's just going to be drucking those generators and rotating away, maybe fake leaving to bait Adam to go back to the gen a bit more aggressively, but I don't think it's worked out, but no, he spotted Adam there in the distance. A keen eye from Nu, and he's going to be able to commit to the chase here onto Adam in the active gens. We see scratch marks here. I am curious to see if Adam tries to go for maybe a smash hit play or maybe a bounce landing off the basement stairs if it allows for it. But I think Nu's going to be able to bolt this with his power. He does have a power here. If he gets the stun off, that's going to be allowing him to smash it away from his active Jennies as a little bit of smart pathing for Adam. He does survive for a little bit longer, going for a bit of a fast vault there on the long window. But unfortunately, Nu getting ghoul bugged there, going nowhere. But so's Adam. He's stuck at this tile with this pretty crappy power, but he's not going to throw it. He wants to smash it, but unfortunately, grinning it at the wrong time, he will be going down. We see Saga and Queen at work, doubling a gen in the background. I'm not too sure if Adam is dead. I'm pretty sure Adam's death here, which does mean either Saga or... No, he's second hook now, my apologies, but we did see Saga and Queen doubling a gen in the background. Now, it is a little bit slow. We see, you know, a pattern forming where we see Adam slowly working gens by Shack side, and then Saga slowly working gens by main side, and then Queen having to stroll down to other side of the map to go for the unhook because he's the only healthy person available and is also able to reset with inner strength if he does get found and manages to escape. But Saga going for a little bit of a pre-run there, Nu kicking drucking this generator, and he needs to try and find Saga, but she did sprint away, I believe, so we should see some lingering scratch marks, but I don't think Nu's caught onto it. We're about to catch onto Queener, though, stealthing at the edge of the map. This is our sprint best play. He burns it a little bit early, though, not getting as much distance as he possibly could have, but with nothing here, he's just going to get M1 tagged here, and then he's going to be able to catch up with his leap power there, and with nothing to work with other than maybe Crane if it's still up, but I think we've already used Crane. He's going to cancel his power right then and there, zone Queen away from this window, but I think he's going to be able to make it anyway, even on ping. He should be able to make this fast vault, and that he doesn't! Oh my goodness, that's not good for KaitOkids. And Nu's keen for this 4K3. He's going for a Saga. He's rotating back or down to try and find Adam and Saga, but it's up to them to stealth really hard here. They are trying to stealth. We see Adam cranking a gen, Saga stealthing in this 3-lane tile here, not quite hearing anyone. Saga is rather quiet as a character, but we don't catch any whiffs of Adam either. He's working a completely different gen. I think he's actually rotated to main side of the map, if I'm correct, but yeah, he is. He's all the way over on the gen that Saga was working earlier, and Nu is just struggling to find Saga, and giving up on Saga, he's just going to go back and like put the hook onto Queen, but no, he's actually rotating over to try and catch out Adam, who should be pre-leaving right about now, but we catch him out. He's over there by the L-wall, T-wall. Not a tile you want to be against Ghoul, the Ken Karnecki, but Adam, he needs to buy as much time as humanly possible for White to either get a gen or go for the pickup onto Queen. We see the pickup coming through onto Queen as Adam does play the T-wall to the best of his human ability, but I think with some cheeky mind games, Nu's going to be able to get the down here, but no, Adam showing a ton of patience here, able to win his 50s, and he's just going to keep winning them, but unfortunately with a little bit of bloodlust and a little bit of ping, this might be goodbye Adam Francis, but no, he makes that fault, and he's going to be able to rotate around the T-wall yet again. He's going for a miracle run, winning every 50 known to man, but blocking the pad, he wins another 50 blocking the T-wall. We're on BL2 on the Kaneki on an L-wall T-wall. Pad is buying so much time for his team here, but he does inevitably fall, and this will be the death onto Adam Francis.
It will be, but all things considered, with all you had is an LNT just over at 1, he was able to make so much time, buy so much time for his team. That was absolutely crazy. To be able to make that vault on ping 2 is just phenomenal in his, well, definitely well done to our Adam there, True Teacher, as we send him off from the trial. We are able to get 8 done as a result of it as well. So things are looking pretty, they're looking on the upside for our survivors here, definitely. So now we see Quinn just stealthing around this little trash in the mid. So not being able to be found there, really good stealth, and we do see the rotation over on the side of White, our Saga player on the top side, I do believe that was, and Nu just trying to, at least just struggling to find someone at the moment. realistically, it's just such an awkward situation to be put in on both sides at this point in time. So we know the survivors are fighting for a 4K1. I dare say Outs is out of the equation at this point, but just Nu, if he wants to secure a 4K2, he needs to find a chase right about now because they're all very split from where they are, where the last generators are. You know, if they just play around 12 and play around 6, it's going to prove to be very difficult maybe for Nu, especially if he finds the healthy survivor straight up. But if we find White, we can just, we can just down him, and then White's just on the floor in a matter of time just before he finds Quinn and the game's already over. But they're playing really well around their stealth at the moment, and it would opt to be a little bit more in our favor of the survivors if White was also uninjured, but no. We're going to be taking the chase now onto Quinn. He's going to get a Kagune mark onto Quinn. I hope I'm saying that right. Yes. Now we're just going to opt to try and chase all the way down to the 3 side. How long are we going to be able to last with not much to work with over at the map? Once this pallet's thrown, I'm not too sure what we have at our disposal. But we're playing it really well for what it's worth at the moment. But I dare say we're going to be getting hit through that. No, I'm eating my words. Ping not serving us in the right direction on the side of Nu, breaking this pallet and now going to another filler over at True. This is really strange, RNG. I didn't expect there to be anything here, but he's going to be going down, unfortunately, at that filler pallet. Now you can only hope that Saga has had her gen at least 50%, my God, at least 80% or something, but no, just opted to try and go for a little bit more stealth, but was caught out in the process way before that, and now going down, and that will be the 4K2 on the side of Nu. Now, yes, it was looking a little bit awkward for him, like a little bit earlier on. I did say like about a minute ago, but he was able to pull it back by quickly finding those last 2 survivors and securing his 4K2 spawn.
Yeah, very well played from Nu, and that's what you want to see on the side of Gospel. A fantastic start like that, a very easy win con for them to meet if they've scrimmed it a lot, a 4K1 win condition on the survivor side. And as you see the Mori come through here, and that's a fantastic start to this series, I think.
And welcome back, everyone, to the second half of the Carnegie set, where we will be seeing True Teacher for the side of KaitOkids go up against the survivor side of Gospel, who will be Nu, Cash, Andrew, and Sis. Very renowned main roster on the side of Gospel. They can definitely pull outs on this set, as I have seen them do it before. I'm not too sure amongst the whole season of OSL, but definitely in their scrims, it is most definitely in their repertoire to do so. I guess we're just going to have to wait and see. As we spawn in, we do see True Teacher now load in on the top side and rotating all the way down to the bottom side like clockwork, as you do. Looking at his generators, he does have the uncorrupted 4 generators over at the top side. So now, naturally, he's just going to be opting to go for his first chase of the match. And see just Sis not unfortunately being able to stealth around and getting caught out. Getting that Kagune tag really early in the game is going to spell trouble for Gospel. Maybe no. We're going to opt to go for more tags and not to go for the first chase. Very interesting on the side of True Teacher, but I think it's going to be working out in our favor here, Smog. That was looking pretty shaky from our survivors here.
Yeah, that's not what you want to see. Nu fast falls and trying to get away with a line, then bugging it up, bumping into a car. Not a great start for Gospel, but we are going to be pre-dropping the power, playing super safe. This will eat a token, but we're going to have it back in just a short moment here. So rotating back over to go after our ghoul player himself, Mr. Nu. But Nu doing a very good job of pathing away from the ghoul, but he is greedy to go to Shack, and I think this might be a down here. I don't think he makes the Shack path. He might be able to die in it, but no, he makes it! Just barely. True Teacher breaking that pallet. He's going to have to wait a couple of seconds to get his power back, but he should be able to catch up. No worries, canceling it nice and early to play Nu at this party. He doesn't have his life back, so he does have a lot of wiggle room, but no, Ping's not getting any of that. Him now, you got to break that pallet, and once again, he's just kind of made this map pretty bold on this side of the map, as True Teacher does take his leave here and goes to pressure these gens on the other side of the map, both of which are decently high progress by Andrew and Cash. Now, we are going to see someone rotating over there in the background. It is Sis, who was injured earlier in the trial, so we're going to be seeing if we can catch him and maybe go for a body block, but no, we're just going to have to cancel our power early and then try and get it down here. But we do have a pallet. Sis doing a little bit of a greeting, and I think that's going to spell his demise as he does go down there. A much later down than what we saw from Nu, but we also got a lot of resources out the way there. We saw Shack pallet gone, a Jungle Gym pallet gone, a filler pallet gone, a lot of stuff gone, and our closest pain res is a good bit away. I think maybe if we get a body block, we might see a wiggle out, but no, we should be making this anyway if we did get a body block. So, and this is problems as well. Scissors died in a very bad spot here. This is amongst it with all the Jennies, and we know that there's more than one person here. We know that Andrew and Cash are nearby, but we're having a bit of trouble finding them here, as we're just probably going to be dragging some generators, getting some pressure going. But no, we find someone here, and it is your boy Cash. He's going to be trying to rotate away. This is not a good start for Gospel in the slightest. They're getting caught out of position, not really on the ball as the survivors, but Cash doing a great job of not throwing that pallet too early, as he's going to be rotating away from the active gens. But we see a nice early pull coming through onto Sizz here from Andrew as we rotate away from the main building. But I don't think we have the good windows. We're just forced to go back to this tile that I don't think has a pallet. And this is going to be really early down into Sizz. He just kind of gets Giga Farm there. And that's just going to be an express hook to second stage Hunter. Not a good start at all.
No, most definitely not. And that's the second time, unfortunately, that Sizz has been caught at that one tile. I didn't agree with the greed that he did on his first down, and that's at the second time, not being able to reach the pallet. And now we're in real bad trouble at the moment here, Smunk. I understand that, yes, we had a better start as news killer, but Two Teacher, ultimately, even though the down came in a little bit late, it's on the side of the survivors that I don't think there was a lot more gen. I don't think the gen pressure was up to par with what our last survivor team was producing at that point. So now I think we're just going to let I honestly think we're just going to let Sizz cook at this point and try to get as much generated progress as possible on the bottom side. So not bad, definitely some good macro from the side of the survivors here to be able to call that, make that call. And now we're going to be taking the chase onto Andrew. He's over at the 3 side, going to be getting that tag. Everybody's injured. I dare say Sizz is just going to be dying here. I can't imagine anybody going for this unhook here, Smog. He's just going to be rotating back to the top side and just making sure that he hits death. We do see Nu just kind of stealthing around all the way at this like mid 8 tile now. We do see Cash over in the background at the bottom side working the generator. So if the worst comes to worst, it is going to be the actually no, it's not going to be the Tycon, because like the last Tycon, well, Tycon's 4K too. So I did think that one generator pop. No, one generator procs, and it is a 4K thing. Now we're just going to opt to go all the way back down to the Andrew on the side of our killer. We're going to commit this chase. We're going to see the double in the background, and Two Teachers going to pick up on that. He's just going to try and rotate to catch out one of the... I think he did anticipate that there was 2 people on that generator. Now we're going to be taking the chase onto Nu, who's over at this 6 tile now, playing around it, vaulting the window, getting caught out. He's just going to have to last a little bit longer so they can get that... Oh, wait, no, Sizz died in the background. My lord, I was not paying attention to that. This is really bad now for our survivors, especially if we can get this down on the side of Two Teacher. My god, now we're just going to be playing around this filler, just vaulting it back and forth, and upping it! No, that is absolutely crucial for the side of both sides. Realistically, that is so bad on the survivor side. That is so good if you're on the side of our killer here, KaitOkids. Now, Smog, what do you do if you're in this situation? This is a big predicament. I wouldn't know what to do in here. I'd start panicking, to be honest. I'd break out the comms and start... Oh, I don't know what I'd do.
I think that Gospel VC is going to get loud as we take it down onto Cash. But we do see Nu getting picked up into the background from Andrew. And just Sizz being left to cook on the hook didn't make sense at the time. But we had everyone injured, and we were trying to crank gens. We're just trying to get that 4K1 win con. But unfortunately, the pressure coming in from Two Teacher is just too much for Gospel to handle. They're forced to split, try and hide and stealth at the same time, while also trying to crank two gens. And with a couple of leaps here, we're going to be seeing a down onto Nu once again. He's going to try hop lock though, and he does measure hop locker, which will force the pull here, which is going to buy Adam enough time to rotate over to get Cash back up, which is good for the side of Gospel. But we have such a giant ball rolling here that I think it's going to be hard to recover. At this stage, I'm looking like a 4K3. I would not be surprised if we see KaitOkids take the first set. Gospel have just had a miserable time on Survivor this game, and it really is a shame to see, because historically, they've done fantastic on their Survivor end with very minimal mistakes, but such a bad stealth at the start, as well as just Sizz getting farmed to shit and back. We're going to be seeing a quick little vault there onto Cash, but not getting stopped as he's not already marked. He's just going to be taking the vault and then leaving Cash, trying to find Andrew on the rotate to get the pick, and we do see scratches on the shack wall there, which does mean we see a unhook coming in from Nu. Dessa will be seeing it down to Andrew very shortly, unless Nu wants to take the down for him. I think Two Teachers happy either way, but he really wants that painter, as I think, as Nu does stand still there in the doorway. Very well played from him. He's going to be slow voting that as well, saving his life for a rainy day, and that rainy day is right now. But Andrew with a bit of interesting pathing there. Unfortunately, the cancel not coming through in time on Two Teacher, allowing Andrew to sort of buy a little bit more time for his team, but he's holding the checkies pretty well. But I think this is going to be a tag anyway, not just due to ping, but unfortunately Andrew there just just going to be going down. There's going to be another Pain Rose here, interrupting whatever progress Cash has made on the other side of the map, but we might just be able to get Tycon here. Gospel have shifted gears a bit. They've gotten back into it just a little bit, and this gen's running out of kicks very slowly but surely. We have Nu already on this side of the map, ready to go in for the pull there. Cash is also our Iron Will player, so provided Two Teacher doesn't find any lingering blood leading to that locker, we should be A-okay, unless the brother is a Noah, but no blood on the floor. Shouldn't know Cash is in the locker unless we feel like checking it for some reason. Worth noting as well, we do have Wretched Fate here in the background doing bugger all because Sis died so quickly, but we see the unhook coming onto Andrew from Nu. Wouldn't be surprised if they just double it on the other side of the map and wait for Two Teacher to come back and then rotate away. But no, we see a quick reset coming through onto Andrew. I don't think we have time to get Nu though, so Andrew might be likely to try and bait a chase here and just pull Two Teacher away from these active gens, but we're having trouble finding where our survivors did do a reset. We've done a really good job re-stealthing here and hiding, and we sort of put the control back in Gospel's favor as we see that main gen is slowly creeping back up to the 50% mark. We see Nu over by the fun bus, but we're choosing to rotate away, go for our gens. We really want this 4K3 win con. We don't want to settle for a tie. I think we might have had that com just a little bit too late. We do see blood there lingering on the floor. Does Two Teacher clock in and find where Cash is? We do. We find him at the back of main, but we're going to be rotating away to this little filler pallet here. It's not great, though. We might just be pre-throwing that, but no, we're playing it very patient here. Very, very, very greedy when you're on paint, but we're going for the throw there and maybe a vault there from Cash, but no, he's super patient there. But Two Teacher wins the 50-50 and we'll take it down to Cash. That's our last fresh of the game.
Yeah, it's not often you see the survivors escape that pallet once it's down Smonk, and now taking the hook onto Cash once more. This is proving to be extremely, extremely in the favor of our killer still. Regardless, we're going to be going on a little bit of a gen patrol now. We do know that there's nobody working that 3 gen inside the middle of our hook. We do see Nu in the background working 3. So we got a little bit of pressure. This is huge that Andrew's actually healthy at this point in time. You know, if he was injured, oh, Trouble's team, like, we'd just have to kind of double that generator over down at 3 and hope for the best. But never mind. We are going to be going all the way down to 3 where we know somebody is working this generator, and we do spot out Nu who's going to be using this dumpster filler to his advantage over at 2. Going to be playing it around, expecting a little bit of a kidnap tech and just dropping it as well and winning that now, running all the way down to what I believe would be like Shack or something, or even corner 5. And now we're going to be taking the kick onto this generator over at 3. We're going to be opting to still continue the chase. And where has Nu gone? He has gone back inside the loops of the matchstick tiles and probably rotating all the way back down to 3. No, long jokes, he's gone all the way. It's still Lu. Wait, there he is, the life player. Okay, I didn't expect the vault. I didn't anticipate the vault. My God, I would have swung at that Two Teacher. I feel for you in that regard. But Nu having a very good chase forward. It's worth nothing to work with. And Two Teacher's going to have to leave this if he is to get the win con now. I do think that there's somebody going to be working over at the main. And now we spotted Andrew. I do believe that's Cash. And they're going to be popping that generator now. This is definitely going back into the side of Gospel. And you'd love to see it. Andrew now vaulting the tire where Sis was unable to get the throw, or like, sorry, the win onto this pallet. And now Andrew going to be playing the check spots and trying to just survive long enough for his team to be able to get the last generator procced, and now just having, yes, quite a long chase for what it's worth with nothing at our disposal. He's going to be opting to die edge map. I don't really know what the gens are like at this point in time. We do see one that's really close at the moment. There is 3 that is like 75%. I was going to say, like, I kind of remember that 3 was about to, you know, 50%. Maybe it's going to be able to pop, but Nu just going to be able to buy enough distance to run all the way down to the shack, getting a little bit caught on the tiles there. Is Two Teacher now going to be continuing on the chase, and now playing around this window is Nu. He's not going to be going down anytime soon. I don't think. Fingers crossed, touch wood. If you're on the side of Gospel, he's playing around this window immensely good. Now he's just playing the corner check spots, and just keep in mind, folks, there's no pallet to be working with at the moment. Now the vault coming in from Two Teacher, and now that's going to allow Nu to be able to make this bus pallet, and now we're going to want to have none of that. But there was a reset in the background, if you were paying attention, onto the side of Andrew, which means they are not on generators, which means we are able to continue on this chase onto Nu's Monk. But he is playing incredible right now.
Yeah, Two Teacher, the nerves might be getting to him. Nu able to escape that chase. Andrew healthy back on the board, which is huge for Gospel. This gen is still at 75%. No one's able to rotate down to finish it yet, but Cash and Andrew are very lucky working a different gen in the background. And with no Kagune Mark, Two Teacher's going to take a much longer to get around the map here with only 2 dashes. But we see Andrew stealthing in this jungle gym that Two Teacher's having a gaze at, trying to find anyone stealthing. And if Andrew plays his cards right, this should be a successful stealth. He sees him over the long wall. He's playing it, but no. Two Teacher able to catch out Andrew. just in time here. He's a champion alive player. Doesn't need exhaustion to get him out of dodge, but also two teachers keen to get that Kagune mark. He successfully tags Andrew's G2 into him. Dares he's going to take that mark, go back over to the 3-gen, and try and get it down to Nu. But Nu should have his life back up, allowing him to rotate very far away back down to that bus pallet. If he plays his card right, get the life out. But while all this is said and done and happening, we see Cash working a generator in the background there that's like to pop any second now, bringing us to our 4K1 win con. Unfortunately, two teachers not able to vault that window with his power. Again, the nerves may be getting him. The pressure is rising. The ball is back in Gospel's court. We see that gen pop there. We get the 4K1 win con, and the victory goes to Gospel for the first set here. And all things considered, my God, both survivors were on the back foot there, and I think that just shows the power of the Ghoul, how tense it is going into this set, how very little mistakes you can afford to make. And even then, with Andrew just now mending in the background, we see Cash rotating on another gen. We have this gen high progress as well. We might even be seeing outs here, Hunter, if Gospel play their cards right, although they need to play them with a full house.
I said it before, you know, in the match, just loading in that, yes, we do see outs usually on the side of Gospel. Yeah, I'm not too sure if they did get it in the season. Please tell me if I'm wrong, if they did get outs earlier on. But you really have to bow down to Nu at a point like this. This man just went on an absolutely wild goose chase for his team and was able to pull back the win con as well. Now, the set going in hand on the side of Gospel. It's absolutely crazy. Now, Two Teacher, he just has to kind of sit back with his team. You know, we're going into our pick now, so anything can realistically happen. You know, you really have to try to win that Doctor set next and try to level things out before you start to lose morale. But nevertheless, we will still be opting to take this chase onto Andrew here over at the shack while Cash works that generator over at 8. And yes, Two Teacher knows it. He knows that there's somebody on 8 because there's nobody going for the unhook right now. Andrew just having a little bit of a wild goose chase over at shack, and I do say we're going to be seeing the... Oh, no, we're not going to be seeing the pick onto Nu. Okay, never mind. He's dying. So we've calculated that absolutely perfectly. We're going to see the blood pools around the corner. He's not in the locker, good sir, unfortunately for you. Now swinging through that pallet, unfortunately, and he's just going to be whiffing the air. Cash is just playing absolutely crazy with the stealth right now and the shift tech and whatnot. He's just going to be trying to make use of this broken four walls, this godforsaken tile that we all hate on ping as well. And he's just going to be standing there menacingly. There's absolutely no way you do that to a man. Now, Two Teacher's going to have to go all the way down to 3 now, but it's going to be popping in his face. Wait, potentially Cash can get out of this. And now we're going to be taking the chase onto Andrew, who's going to have to try and loop around this matchsticks tile for what it's worth. And I do say that Cash has already hopped on that gate, and we're going to be forcing locker. We're going to be seeing stages here. I don't know what the stages are currently like at the moment. I do think that Cash is death. No, he's 2 stages. So this is going to be a 10-stage game for Fresh. That's absolutely crazy, Smog. I didn't expect this. I thought it was 4K3, I'll be honest with you.
Turning a death at 4 gens with how quick Sis died, and then playing that 3v1 basically perfectly. It's like, I can't even put into words how well Gospel played that set there. And that's goes to show you why they picked the Ghoul and why they're so confident on it. We see News Ghoul, and we saw how the survival. Welcome back, everyone, to OSL Season 3. This is Week 2 of Finals. This is KaitOkids vs Gospel, and whoever wins KaitOkids vs Gospel will meet Zetspo next week in the Grand Finals. But in case you missed it, we did already see the Ghoul set, which we did see Gospel win. Very, very interesting match, I will say. It was very tense on both sides, playing for a 4K1 win con. And honestly, if you missed it, go back and watch it, because there was some incredible plays on both sides, especially when it was Gospel's turn to play Survivor. That was incredible 3v1 gameplay. But now we're going to KaitOkids' pick of Big Shock. Big insert the filler there. Doctor again on the Wretched shop here now. Doctor, CT killer, not very strong. Generally stages, you're expecting it against this killer. No nowhere in place, so we're playing around our mid-game a bit more. Looking at the build, we do have the Electrode there, as well as Purple Discipline, with Sloppy, Agitation, Pain Nose, and Corrupt, so pretty stock standard stuff. We do find Cash straight off the bat here, and I will say we're probably going to be seeing a lot of hit takes coming through on the side of the Survivors here when they do need it, as that's a lot of the skill test for Dr. Wright is coming in for hit takes when possible. Cash barely getting this throw on the pallet, but good to see. You need to play pre-throws a lot more against the Doctor here. You can't afford to go for stuns. It's very unlikely to happen, but hopefully Cash is able to make a bolt into Shaq here, but no, he's going to be greedy the window, but Quinn are going for a bit of an interesting mind game, and it works! There's going to be a tag onto Cash. He won't be able to make the pallet, even without a shock. Very good first hit here, but now we're going to be seeing the Gospel survivors trying to come in for hit takes when Cash does need it. With a little bit of shock, they're going to be able to do it. Queen are giving a wide berth to the locker there, expecting the head-on play here, but we force Cash to play this unoptimal pallet here. Dare say he'd be calling for one of his teammates to rotate in for a hit, but no! We get that pallet though anyway, and honestly, for anyone to take the chase here, it would be Big Cash here, who is from WA, so he does get slightly better ping, so not a bad person to take chase at all. We do, again, get another medium vault here, but we're going to be able to get the Shack down there, another gen popping in the background. I say another, that was the first gen, and this gen also high progress. We're going to be seeing 2 gens pop in this first chase hunter.
Yeah, and potentially a body block coming in for whoever just finish that generator over at the 3 side of the map, 2 side of the map. Now, Cash going on what seems to be an absolutely wild goose chase. Is going to be utilizing this short pallet in the bus here, but I dare say somebody's going to be taking a hit there. It is Sizz. He's going to be taking the hit, allowing Cash to go all the way down to the 2 side. The second generator of the trial, procking in the background. Now, I think to note at the moment is that we don't have any comfort perks at our disposal besides Agitation, and Agitation you need a down for, which is just proving to be really difficult on the side of KaitOkids, unfortunately, for Quinn. Now got to be breaking this filler in the middle of the map. Now, Sizz doesn't really have a lot to work with since everything at this area has been thrown, but it is probably the most optimal place to be taking chase, aside from at the top side where the generator just procced. So now he's going to be taking chase all the way down to the 3 side of the map, vaulting this window now, and just Quinn not being able to get the shock onto that to stop him from vaulting. And now I think he's going to be getting hit through this pallet, unfortunately, as the shock happened. And now we're going to be taking the first hook of the trial and what may be the first pain res, which will be very good for the side of our killer here. Definitely well needed. Now, the question at the point in time is, what are the survivors? And we do see the reset in the background onto Cash, which I don't know where that would have happened. I would have assumed maybe towards more of the top side of the map, potentially, which is probably why Sizz opted to take chase all the way down to the 3 side. But now, Quinn going to be able to take this hook onto Sizz, going to be maybe using his static blast to go find any survivors. And as per add-ons, we do see the Electrode and the Carter's notes on the side of our killer here as well. Andrew rotating all the way down to the Shack side of the map after the eye fill, and we do see his scratch marks. So we're going to be going all the way down to the 5 side of that, where we can see a little Adam just poking his head out on the corner of Shack, and now Quinn opting to take the bait and chase Mr. Loops here, who's going to be looping around the long side of the Shack, and we're not going to want any of it. We're going to still try to protect our hook over at the mid side. But now you can only assume that maybe the survivors are just opting for some gen pressure at this point in time and not really going for any pull onto Sizz. We're just letting the bro cook, as Jumps would say. Now, Quinn just trying to look for where Mr. Loops had gone. He has just completely done the Houdini. Now he's back on 5. Quinn going back to the hook, and he's in a little bit of a precarious scenario here, Smonk.
Yeah, poor Sizz though. 2 games in a row now, being left to cook on the hook and die. But we do see the shock onto Nu there. This does force him into tier 3, meaning he can't finish that gen even if he wanted to. It is very high progress too. No resources to be found for young Nu here, as he's likely be able to take a tag, but this should mean Gospel is able to rotate in for a pull into Sizz. And we see the pull into Sizz just before he hits second stage 2. So Sizz has still only been hooked once, and we have 2 gens. 1 gen, sorry, as we see one popping in the background there that are high progress. I think we're just going to have to play for our rushes here for young Quinn. But I think he's going to be able to barely get that tag, but no, Nu able to make that power there. That smash hit! Getting a ton of value, sending him to Narnia, away from these gens. And that was Nu's gen that got popped. We see another gen Cash working there in the background. That's high progress, but we're going to be seeing a reset coming through onto Nu, trying to heal through that sloppy butcher there, but we find, I think this was Cash's screams here on the near Carlson. It was trying to play this rock throw to the best of his ability, but that purple Carter's notes is going to be doing a lot of God's work here, allowing us to get a tag onto Cash, rotating away from this high progress generator and down to the rest of the gens. Unfortunately, this does pull him into an awkward position where he can't go too far down the map, because if he does, Queen's going to be able to agitation him towards his 3 gen, which we do see on screen now. I called it 3 gen. It's very loose as far as 3 gens are considered, but Cash hauling us down here anyway. Maybe there's a head-on play to be had at the Shack, which will buy him a ton of distance back over to main when that other gen pops. We see one of the 3 gens also high progress here, committing to the chase of the Cash here. We need to get some fresh hooks on the board. We're at 1 stage and it's looking pretty damn grim. We have no Noah to fall back on as it is banned. We see that gen getting popped in the background there. That was over by main, and I think with a little bit of a hit take Cash, and the hit take should be able to rotate over towards main again. And we do see Sizz here taking the tag. This was the one person you don't want to see taking the hit take, because you can't even rotate for them, as they're not fresh and they're not worth anything. You need to commit to Cash here, but we still have 2 people on the board that can afford to take hits, as we do thankfully zone Cash away way back down to the active generators, but we see Young Nu coming in from the hit, but he's a bit slow, exactly 15% slow, as we get another tag onto us there by yet another pressure, and then yet another head take, but Cash has been rotated down to the shack, and we see the last gen popping in the background, and that's probably going to be Andrew taking a hit take for Cash as well. We see all three survivors rotating in for hit takes. I know Quinn hates to see Gospel's team coming, because no doubt in my mind that we see Sis already on that gate pulling it, and we're going to be seeing a one stage from Quinn, but we might be able to just barely get it down, but Sis coming in to take the down for Cash, making it a 3-stage, one fresh if all things work out in his favor, but the purple note's coming in, but just not in time. We get the down onto Sis, and that's 3 freshes out the door, only 1 stage, 3 fresh, so only 1 hook, 3 stages on the side for KaitOkids. Very unfortunate, not what you want to see on your own Pig Hunter.
3 stages, 1 hook in the end is absolutely crazy, and I knew Sizz was going to come in and take the body block to preserve the fresh hooks. Preserved tonight, as we do have all of the main boys playing for every team essentially now. We did see last game a 3-stage with 1 fresh, and even for a doctor set, that's kind of crazy, I'm not going to lie. After what we've really been seeing with this balancing throughout the whole entire season, I don't think that we've really seen a game where 3 stages was really, like any game that was really as low as 3 stages, it's just absolutely, it's amazing to watch in a sense, but realistically, amongst other tournaments, they would say, yes, that is kind of expected as Doctor is your C-tier killer, but it's still really amazing to see when you have so much ping involved and just, you know, just with the base that we've been given off players. It's just really good to see it, but nevertheless, we'll be seeing Cash now load into the match and go all the way to the middle and use his static blast. As far as builds go, we do see Corrupt Intervention, Pain Res, Eruption, and as our comfort perk, Machine Learning, which we've seen creep into the meta a little bit, which I quite like. It's quite interesting. Let's see if we can really, if it can be used into our favor on the side of Cash, but nevertheless, we'll be taking the first chase onto Stay Naros, who will be taking chase all the way down to the shack like we saw last game, pre-dropping that pallet instantly. It's kind of like I'm seeing deja vu here. Ania in chase for the first chase of the game, and we are over at the 5 and 6 tiles. Is absolutely crazy. Now continuing on the chase onto Stay Naros, we're going to opt to take chase all the way down to the 5 side of the map. Not really much to work with around these rocks, but we do have that pallet over in the broken R and L wall, and now we're going to be able to make the window, and maybe this might be a little bit of a longer chase like we saw last game. Who really knows? What do you think here, Smonk?
I don't know, like, Cash is such an easy win con to me. We see the machine learning as well, which did get changed in the Finance of Freeze chapter, so keep in mind, it's not the old 10% for 45 seconds, now 8% for 60 seconds. So we actually have a machine learning for a little bit longer if we do get it now. I believe the play here is to get our first down, get a hook, get our pain res, get the eruptions going as well, and then, of course, machine learning on that last generator there, and then eventually it pops during your tunnel out, or in Cash's case, if he's playing around his win con, then he gets a pain res onto near here, and then finds someone else to down and then kill, and then he just camps him to death because it's a 2 fresh 4 stages of W. So we're going to be seeing someone here. I think we just saw Jake potentially rotating in for a potential hit take, but no, we see a head-on here from, I think that was Claudette. Big Quinn taking the head-on, buying the a ton of time here, but he's running short. He's running into the Corrupt now by main. He has the good window, but with a well-timed shock, it's going to turn into a very bad window. But we dodged the shock and we're able to loop around the car just a little bit. We might see a hit take here from one of our teammates, but no, we're trying to get to the window, but we don't make it in time. There, unfortunately, we see Nia going down, and this will be the first pain res of the game. And crawling corner as well. I think there was a little bit of tenacity, so hopefully we're able to make one of our pain reses. But looking around, our pain reses aren't too bad. I think we should be able to make that one in the background there, and then apply our eruptions and our machine learnings and whatnot. Maybe find someone else, ideally maybe Quinn, who is a head-on player, because that way we know there's no silliness like smash hit or anything like that in play. But overall, a good start if you cash in, well on the way to getting that 4-stage win con.
Yeah, definitely. And now the survivors trying to regroup and recollect at this point in time after the first hook of the trial happening. Now, realistically, all Cash needs to do is just down someone and camp them all the way down to death. We see the machine learning rock onto that that shack generator, now opting to take chase all the way down to the 5 side. And this is pretty bad for our survivors since all the action now is all around the active, and we have we have eruption all applied on these generators, unfortunately, and now Cash is going to be really taking advantage of just really sitting in between and going on gen patrol at the moment. And now we do see Quinn, who's going to be going all the way down to 2, but we're going to have to have none of it. We're going to take our shock and leave, as you do at this point in time, and the game is just kind of stagnant at this point. But we do see White hop back on that generator, very risky, and you love to see it on the side of KaitOkids. And now we do see our another high progress generator over in the background that's going to pop any second now, and I do believe that's over on the 3 side. So, like clockwork, the 3 gen is broken at this point in time. We do, as a gen spread, we do have main, we do have Shack, and we do have a few other top side generators at the moment. We do see the double coming in. They're going to be able to get the double though. Okay, so at the cost of maybe a down though, unfortunately, we do see True Teacher getting hit through that pallet. Maybe some ping put their smoke. I don't really know.
No, we have machine learning active, so we have our 8% haste for 10 seconds. So this is going to allow Cash to buy a ton of time here. Catch up with the survivors really easy, get those tags, and I think KaitOkids, the proverbial shit has hit the fan as they've realized what's happening, what perk has come into play now. We do take the pick onto Adam. This is going to be a pain res as well onto one of our active gens here as machine learning does come to a close. But we see the pain res. We heard someone yelling in the background there. We might even be able to greet another fresh hook at white, get a pain res, and then get our 3 freshes. But we know we see Near here in a very poor position at this Carlo with some well-timed shocks. We should be able to secure our tunnel and then just phase camp into death and secure a win. And with just a barely getting that down there at the pad, and we're going to be immediately hot picking that and then carrying them agitation-wise over to a different hook. And honestly, Cash is in a prime position to win this. Gospel, honestly, if they keep playing like this is going to be a 3-0. I'm all going to be going to bed early. Well, earlier than we probably would have assumed anyway, given it was a BF5. But I don't know, like, this was KaitOkids' pick, so I was keen to see how the killer would play, but unfortunately, I don't think they were expected hit takes and the communication and teamwork to come through on the side of Gospel. We see KaitOkids resetting there in the background as well onto White and Adam. I believe that was resetting each other under a pallet as we do just sort of hover around Near now. If they're trying to play for a Tygon, they need to go for the unhook onto Near in a pretty brisk fashion and then just get everyone out the door, which is a bit hard pressed. But we see the reset happening, we catch it out. Unfortunately, True Teacher is healthy, so this will only be an attack if we get it, but no, we get that pallet down. We're rotating our chase onto Y, who is our fresh hook and a painters, I believe, and we get this man to second stage. This should be a W, but we have this weird hybrid 4-lane tile that's not really a 4-lane. Someone else dropping the pallet, I don't know who that was. Adam, I don't know, trying to help, I guess, but we do get the down onto White, which will now be a pain res here. Maybe try to confuse Cash a little bit, or trying to go for like a, a stun onto the back there to buy White a little bit of time to rotate away from that area, but unfortunately, no, that will be down onto White, which will mean pain res as well, and is looking pretty grim for KaitOkids. That definitely looking good.
It is the win con. It is 4 stages at the moment, 2 fresh from what I'm reading, unless we're completely smashed and the score isn't updating at this point in time. But regardless, we just have to really recollect and go into the next set, I think, on the side of KaitOkids here and go try to win. No, go try to win the pick of Gospel, which is the Spirit next. But nevertheless, in more recent events, we'll be locking in as Cash and going to be continuing on the end of, like, well, not the end of this game, but like for whatever is remaining. And now we're going to be getting that pallet slapped in our face on the side of True Teacher. Now Cash is going to opt to continue on the chase around this dumpster filler here, trying to shock him and trying to zone him into the edge map, getting hit there, unfortunately. True Teacher's going to have to go on a little bit of a good chase now if he really wants those generators in the background to proc, but Cash just going to do the smart thing, opt to leave and go all the way down to the mid of the map and catch out whoever was working on this main generator. Now, again, very stagnant. We do see the reset in the background. So again, we're just trying to play the slow game. So they're still playing for outs, which is really good on the side of our survivors here. You love to really see just never give up, fight to the end. That's what I love about KaitOkids, is they always have that mentality from just seeing them play in DBD Indonesia. Just like, it's a really good mindset to have. I don't really like when teams just decide, okay, we just go next. You still want to play for the best possible result. Nevertheless, Cash gonna be trying to just patrol the map, I guess, at the moment, and just not really a lot happening here. I wanted to touch up, we did see the same add-ons. I do believe everybody's just bringing these add-ons, this Purple Carter's Note and Electrode. I can't remember what Carter's Note does, but I know Electrode makes the shock longer, doesn't it? Smunk, like not the Static Blast, but the other one. Shock Therapy, right?
Yeah, Shock Therapy, the chase power you see the Doctor using is, it increases the range by 4 meters, which is fantastic, really. And the Carter's Notes, for those of you that don't know, all of the 4 add-ons do the same thing. It's just as the rarity goes higher, they get more intensive. So it decreases the detonation delay of his power, so the power he sends out by 20%. So it actually makes his shock therapy happen faster. We see the shock now, and it happens much, much quicker there as you do the chase into Queen of there. But in addition, it has some other effects, like making an enemy survivors vault directly into us for free tags. I didn't know about that one, but apparently it's not listed listed here in the add-on here that I'm reading right now. So, but a really cool change regardless if that happened recently. But we take the chase to the right here at this window here, but we do have Nia and hopefully Queena nearby, able to take the hit, but no, with a well-placed shock that we should get the down onto one, unless we see a miracle here, but no, we do die under the pallet, an eruption happening onto the Shack Gen, and I think we'll be rotating here, trying to stop the gen from getting popped. We see the aura from Nia as well, who is able to make a good bit of distance here. I don't think we're going to be able to get a tag here, so Cash rotating back down to get the pick onto white, and then maybe just hooking in this active generator. Keep in mind, regardless of what gen they pop, machine learning will activate in the end game here, so it's kind of like a neat little substitute for NOED when you do come to the end game. As sort of getting that 4% haste, you get that minute of 8% haste, which most end games don't last more than a minute anyway, so it allows you to maybe get an extra kill. As a nice little substitute for NOED for these lower tier kills like Demo and Doctor. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do see a lot more machine learning on these C tier killers like Demo and Doc, because it sort of substitutes that NOED position for them. But as for Carter's notes, in addition to the 20% detonation delay, when they are in Madness, the survivors don't see your red stain. They receive an illusionary red stain on their back. So it makes mind gaming much easier as well for the Doctor. And when they're in tier 3, it makes the red stain and the terror is constantly active on them, so they can't really tell where the Doctor is. But of course, we're in comms, so we can supplement that with some comms. We're kicking that gen with eruption as well, but we have 2 TG here at the main building. Not a lot to work with here, as we do force him to rotate back into main here, which will give us another tag, which means 2 survivors are injured on the board. We see White getting pulled in the background there as well. And honestly, Cash is just getting a ton of stages here on the side of KaitOkids, and it's really impressive to see.
Yeah, definitely. And you love to see, even though that this isn't their win con, this is still a very respectable result if we can maintain it. Now, just faking that window very nicely as 2 Teacher is going to be running down all the way down to the 7 side. And even if 2 Teacher has like a generational chase here and opts to die for his team and then just gets some outs throughout the door, that's going to spell, let me do the math real quickly in my head. I do believe there's 7 stages, 3 hooks if that were to happen. And yeah, again, just a very respectable result on the side of the Doctor set realistically. And now vaulting that window, Cash is going to be swinging at that too. That's absolutely crazy. Actually, I might be eating my words here. We might be seeing every survivor out the gate at the moment for a 5-stage game. This is textbook Doctor gameplay. I'm really proud of both teams realistically, like for everything considered at the moment. Oh my God, no, wait, we shouldn't have double backed. Wait. Okay, the hallucination almost worked out in our favor for the side of the killers, for the survivors at the side of the survivors at the moment. My God, I cannot speak. Nevertheless, we'll be taking these shocks onto our Nia over at that pallet there. We're going to be facing. Wait, we can't get the flashlight saved because of tier 3. No way. Oh.
I was wondering why he was shocking, and then I clicked. I was like, oh, he's forced in tier 3, so he can't get a beamer save, and just going to stare at him and mog him while he gets the hooker to Adam here. And I can't imagine they'd go for any saves here. I do wonder if machine learning's bugged, because it didn't activate when the last gen got done, even though it was machine learning. He didn't get the haste or undetectable benefits. So machine learning may be bugged or something, or maybe I'm missing something. But it should have activated and given that 8% haste, which I was talking about earlier as being a supplement for NOED. But if it doesn't work like that anymore, then I don't know, maybe I'll just shut up. But we're going to be aiming for some ingenious body blocks onto Adam here, but he's going to be able to bypass this with some basic 10% haste. Now we have 3 survivors here coming in for the body block. If we fumble this, KaitOkids, I have some questions for you, but we get the tag onto White and the stun, and that should be everyone out the gate. That's 6 stages, 4 fresh on the board. Was it 4 fresh? We still had 1 pain res left there, Hunter.
And welcome back, everyone, to the third time's a charm Gospel vs. KaitOkids with Nu on the killer, as our spirit will be loading into the suffocation pit for the 3rd time of the night. I really hope that we don't have any connection issues. So if you've been missing out the past 2 attempts, we have had everyone load into Hong Kong servers, unfortunately, which is just spelled trouble for our killer and trouble for our survivors. Our survivors being over the threshold of 30 ping average and the killer being on 150. Now, hopefully, fingers crossed, we do not have that issue. We load in as Nu, and we do see him play the match accordingly. Now, we have gotten the green light. We are A-okay, and you love to hear about it. So now we're back in for the games. Now Nu gonna opt to go all the way down to the top side of the map where his corrupt is and try to spot out any stealth out survivors. And very open over towards this 11 side. Not managing to find anybody at the moment. Maybe some god tier stealthing from our survivors at the moment. We do see Ada all the way over down. That seems to be 11. I'm not too sure. I didn't really get a good look at that, but we do see the ace. Everyone's still over the round, roughly the top side, other than our ace, who I do believe is on the bottom side now. Nu going to opt to take this chase onto the first survivor of the trial, and it will be our Saga, who is white, who will be looping around this long side of main, now utilizing this little short filler into the window of main, playing around the rock. Is he going to be able to get tagged? Is he going to be able to mind game? And he's going to be able to W away from that, but doesn't really have any pallets to work with. Going to be taking that M1 really nice and early, now going all the way down to the middle of main, and just not really having a lot of places to go. He's going to have to opt to vault the window, go for the pre-throw onto this main filler, and now going down in the process. Yeah, pretty much once that pallet's thrown, Smonk, you're just down and dusted.
Yeah, Spirit's a bit of a toothache. Definitely a killer. It's really hard to play her. She's I say Esther, she's an 18 this season, but she's one of the top 5 for a reason, right? She's super fast. She's very hard to play around, and Nu is deadly on the Spirit. God, we find Ada stealthing. A failed stealth is going to be in a lot of trouble because that was a standard M1. We're going to be able to phase after Ada. Hopefully we have some pallets or some decent spaces nearby, but it doesn't even matter as we do get the down onto Ada. And with agitation, we're going to be able to drag it to the top side of the map towards main again and hook right next to Saga. But thankfully, a quick unhook there is going to mean that we won't have 2 Spars cooking on hook at top side. But News is going to be taking this quick hook here, not greeting for his unhook there by the painters, but we see a very quick reset onto Saga here, and look at the survivors. We do have the terrible 4, the quiet, silent 4, Ada, Saga, Ace, and Hanato, the 4 probably quietest survivors in the game. Definitely not who you want to see on the survivor board if you spit, but with Ping on our side, we get a nice little down to white, and that's an express post to death hook. It's not looking good for KaitOkids, and honestly, this is make it or break it. If we lose the Spirit set, we're out 3-0, we're knocked out, and it's going to be the Zetsburg Gospel Grand Finals.
No bueno. This was definitely not Mama the Me yarn. Definitely went. I want to just touch up on one of the facts that I pulled up at the start of the game, thinking that the survivors were for some godforsaken reason going to be on 30 ping. They're not. They are on ping because they are from SEA. So they're about 130. That's pretty much what the ping is. And we just see the champion of Light Tech from Quinn coming in, unfortunately getting hit through that and not being able to fake out our window. Now Nu going to opt to go all the way back down to the top side of the map where our hook was. We do see the unhook happen and the FTP coming in hot. Are we going to be able to preserve the life of our survivor here? We do see the FTP survivor go around the short filler, which is our Ada, but we're going to opt to take Chaser back onto white and get our tunnel out as soon as possible. He's going to be looping at the backside of this main, going all down to the one side. He's going to be maybe doing a little bit of walking tech. No, he's just going to go straight hold W, and that's pretty much what you have to do in the scenario. The balance landing coming in from the hill as well, going to be able to make a little bit of extra distance from that. Are we going to be able to make a pallet? No, we're going to be going all the way down to the middle of the map. Very interesting pathing, I dare say. He's just going to be going down. Unfortunately, we see 8 in the background proc as well, and this will be the death onto our Saga here. Now, this is a very, very bad scenario here for our survivors with a death at 3 generators remaining on a Spirit set. You're looking between anywhere a 4K2 to a 4K1 at this stage in the game, and ideally how these sets go is if you play a Spirit set on the side of the survivors, if you need somebody at least to that 3, like 1 generator remaining on that 3v1, but we do spot out Teacher unfortunately going down as well, and that's another quick hook. Very well played by Nu, and yeah, he's in the box seat at the moment. Smonk, this is absolutely crazy.
Not to mention as well, Ada's a death hook now. Like, she got downed early on in the match, so we've already got someone prime and right for the pickings to force a 2v1. We have our Eruption to play. We've got a really good hook in the mid-gen here, but may as well be a 4-gen on the main side of the map here. But we're going to be trying to look for Queen, who thankfully was reset in the background there, and we also have Hanato somewhere lurking nearby. But we still have our painters on the board for Ada as well, so when we do eventually go for what would I assume to be a tunnel out onto the Ada, we will be able to secure a pain resonance from that kill as well, which is a little bit of a 2-tap in the balls for the side of KaitOkids. And we know Queen is nearby lurking for the save there, and Hanato's just over by main working a generator, but we do see the unhook coming through here. This is our Will Maker play, but I don't think it's going to matter as we're just going to be going straight. Oh, a very nice tag onto Queen there. But with Spirit Burst here, we're going to be able to make a ton of distance and wait for the Spirit Power to come back. We also have Shaq to work with, so we're going to be able to pre-throw Shaq by a good bit of time with our team, and we have rotated Jace onto Ada, who is on Deathhook, as well as I think this is second win, so we need to get the down really quickly. But no, we don't get the down here, which does mean Ada is full heal. But with a well-placed phase, we will be seeing the tag coming through onto Ada once more. So that second win did buy us a good bit of time, but with New Spirit and not much to work with here, we're going to have to try and die near mid, hopefully, and try and play around the resources that are left available to us. But with our phase coming online just now, we don't think we make that phase. And a very nice phase from New there, hitting Ada. I didn't even see her. And with this down, we do see the eruption come through, as well as a pain resonance. He's looking around at his pain resonance. He's just going to have to hook down by deep 6 side. I think this is technically 7. But regardless, we get a cheeky little pain resonance here, and we're going to be able to phase up Matt, find Hanato or Queena somewhere nearby, and it's looking, honestly, this is looking like a 4K3. Oh no, it'll be a 4K2 if Hanato gets this gen.
Yeah, pretty much at this point. It's looking pretty dire for our survivors. We did anticipate anyway between a 4K1, 4K2, but nevertheless, Nu going to go all the way back down to the top side to see if he can spot out anybody on Gen Patrol. We do hear that this main generator was being worked on, and yes, that is the 4K2 coming in hot now. Staynaros taking that M1. Where is he going to go after this? Doesn't really have much to work with. Going to have to opt to use this window now once vaulting it. There is one pallet, I do believe, over towards the 10 side, 9 side of the map. We do see the unprogressed generator as well. There is a God Filler, but he's kind of zoned after he uses it, but never mind. He is not going to be able to make it, or he was trying to fake it out to try and get Nu on the other side and try to reverse pallet stun him. Nevertheless, we're going to be taking that down onto our Stay Narrow survivor and opt to go all the way down to the bottom side of the map to see if we can spot out Quinn, which we know that he's on the top side at this point in time, and he doesn't really have a lot to do at this point. He is injured. It's either you stick a gen or you just go for the pickup, but going for the pickup's really risky. I dare say you just go on like gen progression at this point, and you just kind of accept that, hey, if I get found, it's a 4K2 in this scenario. Unfortunately, with how these games go, there's just some inevitable situations you're going to find yourself in, and now being hooked though, we can probably snag the unhook if Nu decides to leave the hook. I'm not too sure if this is a spectator bug or if we're just staring into his soul. I do say it is a spectator bug with Quinn, how he is just positioned at the underside of main, and we do see that Nu knows about it. I do believe he heard him. Yeah, with Spirit players, you expect them to have something to aid their enhance their hearing audio, if you will, playing by sound, either upping, just completely maxing out that game volume and just trying to hear. Teacher had brought in a banned skin. If you didn't see, it was the Tomi skin on the side of Spirit. Now, there are certain skins that are banned in OSL. It is noted in our balancing updates, but it should probably be somewhere a little bit more accessible to the public. So please keep your eyes peeled to whatever else may lay underneath covers. Unfortunately, we'll do our best to make sure that everybody is kept up to date and notified about what is happening. But nevertheless, we'll now be seeing Teacher load in with an adequate skin very well. Now, loading into the top side, we see the corrupt gens. We do have 3 generators all the way at the bottom side. So, wait a second. Do we have how many freaking generators behind us? Smoke! Oh my, there's no way. This is actually completely doable. This is, oh my, no, maybe this was like godsend.
This is like... maybe God Israel, maybe your boy TTG, he prayed to the right deity and they answered with a juicy gen on the main side. All he has to do is play his cards right and he finds Ada, Sizz, the most unlucky man on the planet. This boy's been found in stealth by every set almost and just getting left to cook in the hook, but we do potentially find a cheeky little face, but no, playing his cards correctly, he does get the pallet drop and buys a good bit of time of his team. I'm sure whoever's running Dage is probably freaking out right now, calling the gens at the main side of the building. We're going to have to die down bot. Everyone dies down bot. No one's dying in gens today, and for gospel's sake, I hope they don't, because if someone does, oh, it spells trouble, as we do like to stay over here at OSL. And honestly, according to casters, that map generation is a 1 in 4.2 million, which is certainly a number. It's a big number, but we are going to be dying basement. But with agitation, we should be able to pull someone towards a painters, and we see Gospel already cranking those gens on the main side of the building. So hopefully, for Gospel's sake anyway, they're able to break this very, very tight. What is that, a 6 gen?
Something like
5.
that. It's like five. Yeah, it's 5. We do see the first generator over at the top side, Proc, unfortunately for the side of two teacher at the moment. So yeah, in all honesty, looking pretty grim at the moment. Losing one generator when you have the win con now of 4K1 is just proving to be absolutely almost impossible at
4K2.
this point. But 4K, well, there was the minus penalty, no, so
Oh,
you'd
right,
still
yeah.
have to get a 4K1. Yeah, unfortunately, now they're going to be taking this chase onto Nu, who will be slamming this pallet in two teachers' face now, wrapping around to the long side of main. We're going to be able to utilize this pallet, but no, we're going to opt to greet it, which is the smart move, creating as much distance as possible. Two teacher knowing it, going to go straight back for the tunnel as soon as possible. And Gospel knows about this, 5 generator at the top side, whole shenanigans, unfortunately, for the side of KaitOkids.